Have you ever looked at all the gear musicians use and wonder, how does it all work? My name's Dustin, and my family and I are setting out on a quest to inspire both adult and kid musicians to create new sounds together and learn all about what it takes to produce great music. We'd like to invite you along on the journey as we explore the gear professional studios, musicians, and hobbyists use to create their art. We'll take a close-up look at the gear and ask,
what's this button do?
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of What's This Button Do? I'm your host, Dustin, and today we are continuing from last week's fun in working on trying to make a better practice space and to protect our hearing. So last week we covered the RTOM practice pads for drummers, which I hope everybody got to see that, how much of a reduction in sound that makes. Those who have not, if you are a drummer or you have a drummer in your home, please go check that out. Amazing Christmas gift to give to your favorite drummer. But there is one other tool that I have been using with Aria in her practice sessions that have made things so much better for her hearing, our hearing, everyone's enjoyment of her playing the drum. And it is from our friends at Zildjian. This is their low volume practice cymbals. Now, there is a lot to talk about with these. It's not a super long video today, but this is honestly, I think, a game changer when it comes to actually having a creative environment that is safe for your ears, but allows young drummers especially, but drummers of any age really that are starting to learn their craft, to be able to express themselves, enjoy the joy of drumming without driving friends, family, and neighbors crazy. Now, why do I say that? Last week we talked about the RTOM practice pads, which are fantastic and they're great, but we talked about the one drawback is you are adding a little bit of height to your drum kit, and you're getting a resistance there, a bounce back that's a little different than the regular heads of a drum, which does change your drumming experience. So if you were to practice all day long, every day with those pads and then go to play real drums in a live setting, it is going to feel different. It is going to sound different. You have to get a good mix of both to really get true feeling when you're drumming. The big change is with these cymbals. What Zildjian's created here is this amazing just feel of really hitting a cymbal. This is real metal. This is going to give you the same kind of bounce back that you would get whenever you hit with a stick on there. It is the true feel, the true size. It's going to fit right on your normal cymbal pad, right where you play, and it doesn't change the thickness, the height, anything from the cymbal you're playing. So these can truly just be a direct swap out for your current kit to dampen the sound down on your kit without changing the way that you practice, the way that you feel, and the hits and the reaction of the hits. What this does is by having these tons of little tiny holes, and you can see if I get this close up here, you've got all these little holes in here, and what you get is when you hit this, a massively dampened sound. So what I think we're going to do first is let's hop over to the room where we've got the drum set up, and I'm going to have Aria whack these a few times and whack her normal cymbal kit a few times. We'll use our decibel meter and check out the difference and see how it looks, and we'll come back here and talk about it. All right, we'll see you over there. All right, let's listen to Aria hit the cymbals. We're going to use the little meter here. There we go. So on this bad boy, we're getting up into the hundreds, high 90s with the low volume, capping out in the high 80s, even down into the 70s, so almost a 10 to 20 point reduction. On a louder cymbal, we're getting into the 105, 103 range. Swap it out. You can see almost a 30 decibel drop, smacking it from the same distance. Now let's hear what this sounds like with conversation where we start to talk while we're doing it at the same time. Hey Aria, talk to me real quick. I want to see how loud normal talking is. Yeah. Keep talking. Okay. All right, so talk normal, like loud to me.
I am.
All right, now I want you to talk while you hit that cymbal right there. Good. So you can still hear while you're talking. Now, let's try the hi-hat. This is where it blew my mind. This is going to clip the mic a little bit, so don't be annoyed by that. Just watch the numbers. That's what's important. Now play on it. So 60s on the all the way up to 130 decibels. Massively loud in your ears. Even backing off, we're at 103 to 108.
Okay.
That would hurt your
All right.
ears.
Let's give the hi-hat a go.
Now, with the low volume, we cap out in the high 80s. Most of the time, we're sitting in the 40s to 70s. Think of just in a 1 hour practice session, how much less damage you're doing to your ears using those low volumes. That is a massive difference. Right. I know that was a short video, but I hope that really did show you the power that these things have. I think the hi-hat's probably the best example that I can give you on why these are so important. And any of you who have ever dealt with drums and been next to a drummer, or if you are a drummer, had to deal with that sound. I know a lot of people don't like to wear earphones, but I've always said earplugs and ear protection are so important. And the more I deal with tinnitus, the more I become passionate about that. But when you see, if you're riding a hi-hat, you're averaging about 105 to 108 and getting all the way up to 130 decibels, which if you're sitting there playing for an hour and riding that the whole time, which is what most drumming is, you're constantly getting those high piercing frequencies, nailing your eardrum over and over and over and over and again. And you could see the 30 to 60 decibel drop that putting on those low volume cymbals created. That to me is the ultimate in protection. If you are going to try to save your ears, there's nothing better. And like I said, you're not sacrificing anything. All you're sacrificing is the sound. Yes, do these sound like something that you're going to run or record your song on? Probably not. It's not going to give you that impact. Although I have heard of some musicians using these to record songs where you want the cymbals more muted, and you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But in a big rock album, you're not going to rock these. You're going to want to rock your crash cymbals and your heavier cymbals and your glassier rides and things like that. But for practice and for everyday use, oh my gosh, it's a no-brainer. It is. It gives you that feel. It gives you the response that you want from a cymbal while still maintaining the basic sound and giving your ears a break. And I just can't think of any better advocacy to you than that. If you are a family member of a drummer and you are looking for a Christmas present this year, I'm going to tell you last week's episode and this week's episode are the ultimate gift that you can give. And even though a drummer might resist this for a second, I promise you, once you get it in their hands, let them play with it a little bit, they are going to be shocked. You cannot believe the number of amazing drummers out there that have turned me on to these. And I will tell you, Tyler Shirelli, one of the best drummers I have ever met, has played with loads of professional bands, is one of the most experienced musicians I've ever had the pleasure working with. He swears by these for practice. And that to me is a good enough endorsement of anyone. If a true professional can use these to practice with and still be the amazing drummer that they are in real life, I can't give you any higher praise than that. You know, me not being a drummer, I can sit here and rant and rave about how great they sound and how I love them as a dad because I can let my daughter come down here and beat the living crud out of drums, and it doesn't bother me when I'm upstairs doing something else, or even when I'm here in the studio working on something. I can throw my earphones on and quite frankly, I can mix, master, do stuff, and I'm really not bugged by what she's doing in the other room. So that to me is a huge asset in and of itself. So for anybody that's in a environment where maybe you've got to keep things quiet, maybe you live in an apartment complex and you don't have the ability to play drums at full volume, or maybe you're just in a tighter knit community where, you know, your walls in your house are a little bit thin. You don't want your neighbor hearing you when you're jamming out downstairs. It's a great thing as well. But for your family members and for people who are going to be living with you, I tell you, like as a studio guy, I just think these are an invaluable tool. I would have these in every drummer's arsenal. I think they're the best investment you can make. They're not dirt cheap by any means, but I think the price of one doctor's visit to deal with tinnitus, now that I've had to do that, paid for about 20 sets of these. So I would have zero problems investing in these to save you having to go get one tinnitus check and having to get an MRI scan on your head to figure out what's going on with your ears. So well worth the investment. And like I said, I've played a few different practice pads before, but there's nothing in the practice cymbal world that's as good as this. This is the bomb. So I will swear by these. I hope that this gives you some good scientific data where you can actually see it being shown on a decibel meter, where this is not just a marketing gimmick or anything. There is true, real life impact on these that can save your kids' ears. So please, 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 if you are thinking about getting your kid a drum set for Christmas, or they already have a drum set and you're trying to make their life better, this is the next investment I would make. So highly recommend that. Well, as always, thank you to my friends for Palen for having me out. I did check with them before I launched this episode, and they do have these in stock for Christmas. I was worried I was going to put this out there, then they wouldn't have any, but they actually do have some in stock. So if you're interested, please visit them at the link below. Go check them out and give them some love. They've got some ready for you in time for Christmas if you need these to get under the tree. Well, I will see you back here in the next week. I know I've been kind of sparse and random on my videos lately. I'm going to take a couple weeks off from my real day job this Christmas and put out some Gear of the Year episodes. We're going to talk about my favorite pedals of the year, favorite guitars of the year, and favorite amps of the year. Most of these are not going to come as a surprise to you, but there's a couple of new things that you haven't seen on the show yet that I want to highlight. We'll do some deep dives on them next year, but I really wanted you to see these for the end of the year because I do have a few Gear of the Year pieces that I just think are phenomenal out there. So join us in the coming weeks for that. Thank you so much for coming out and giving your time today. I will see you soon. Take care. Have a wonderful week.